So my first lesson from TikTok for internal communicators is the classic. It's to keep it short and visual. As we just said, TikTok is all about short form, engaging visual media. It's about short videos, condensing larger stories into short videos that are catchy, thinking about actually what point are you trying to make, and in how short of a time can you really communicate that. Because of some of the restrictions and the way that TikTok is formatted, it forces you to really think about what is my message and what can I put into that message and how effectively can I communicate that in a short space of time. Another point to note, that one thing that I think TikTok does really well is that, of course, it's visual, it's video, but it combines video and audio and text really well. So you see some content creators on TikTok are able to create those short videos and then they overlay them with text, and then they've got a music or an audio as the background. And I think what a great way that's kind of like stimulating and engaging. No wonder it's engaging, is because they're putting loads of different types of media together that is specifically designed to engage people and to do so in different ways as well. So our second lesson, and this may be a slightly controversial one, but is to identify your influencers. Influencers are ultimately what have built TikTok. If you look at the people that are the most followed on TikTok, they're not traditional celebrities, they're people that have grown their following or their fan base on TikTok. And what that says is that people have a really influential role, relatable people have a really influential role in getting your point across. People buy into that. And when that comes to internal communications, I think that don't be ashamed to try and identify the people in your organization, the ambassadors, those that have experience working with different teams and are able to really gather momentum behind a point. Don't be afraid to identify those people. Don't be afraid to use them essentially to get insight on your communications, but also help communicate out, because we know that if you want people on board, you need to get other people on board and people that are influential of other people as well. So identifying who those ambassadors are and taking them on the journey with you with the messages that you want to communicate, whether that's as part of a specific project or whether that's broader business communications, getting them on board and helping them to communicate messages as well. To kind of use the first point there, maybe even think about using those influencers to specifically help communicate via video and via audio, because that would be a great lesson to take if you're taking your first lesson, your second lesson, you're implementing it already. The third lesson that I want to take actually fits very well with influencers. So I just said that the most followed people on TikTok tend to be not traditional celebrities, but people that have grown organically, organic influencers. And one of the reasons that they've grown so organically is because they're authentic. So the third lesson here is about putting a premium on authenticity. So ensuring that when you are communicating, those communications are raw, they are authentic, and that they don't seem manufactured. I think that's that whole authenticity thing. There's very much a lack of trust at the moment when it comes to businesses and communications, and I think almost 50% of Americans don't trust for-profit businesses, and so it's no wonder there are sometimes trust issues when it comes to employees and understanding those communications. And if you want to dispel that, you have to take a lesson away from being authentic with those communications, delivering them authentically, and using kind of raw language as well. I think using video as well helps to communicate how real that is too. The fourth lesson that I want to talk about is about the rule of 7. So this is really coming down from marketing, but if we think about TikTok, if you've ever used TikTok, what you'll know is that you'll very quickly get into a loop when you watch a few TikToks and you hear the same sound being played over and over again. And before you know it, you're hearing it more, and then that sound is stuck in your head all day. And that is really working, or the success of that comes from the rule of 7, ensuring that if you're trying to get a message across, that message isn't just communicated once and then you're done, that communication is being hit or is being sent out multiple different times. Marketers think that kind of magic number is around 7, but it may kind of differ depending on the message. But the point to take away is that you can't just write your message, send it out, and be done with it. It's important to think about, okay, I know what message I'm trying to get across. What channels am I using to get this message across? Am I communicating parts of this message in a different channel, parts in another channel? I'm really kind of just making use of your digital estate as a communicator to get that message across in different formats, and to meet employees where they are. So whether that be in Microsoft Teams or Slack, or also the classic email, there is a time and a place for that. So that's really the lesson to take away from there, is remember the rule of 7. Make sure that you're getting your point across multiple times so that it really hits home and that you're using different channels for it. The 5th lesson that I want to talk about is to make sure you give everyone a say. TikTok is essentially a platform of hundreds of millions of users having their individual say, contributing to the conversation on different topics. And so if you want to really gather momentum, it's about ensuring that the most number of people have been included in that. So making sure your employees have a say, whether that be through posting messages on different social groups or channels or communities, or even being able to post their own video, their own audio. That is another big method of people having their say, making sure that there's that active participation, that two-way conversation, and not just between internal communicators and the employees, but also ensuring that employees can bounce off each other. They can bounce off each other's conversation, each other's videos. And I think that's quite an important point to take away, that nowadays internal communications shouldn't just be owned and massively managed by an individual or group of people. It's that whole community aspect that get your employees involved, that help build a good culture and help understand your values, and also to help further communications too. And the final lesson that we want to take away from TikTok is all about making it mobile. Now, TikTok, I'm not even sure if it does have a desktop experience. I'm sure it does because they've got everything covered, but TikTok is all about being mobile first. That mobile experience, it just wraps around the mobile device like a glove. It's so quick and easy to comment on stuff, to like stuff, to interact, just to post stuff. All of these different quick actions that TikTok want you to do are built into their mobile app in a way that just makes it easy for you to engage. And so ultimately, as internal communicators, if you want your employees to engage, you want something that fits for mobile, something that makes it so easy if they're moving from A to B, if they're on their commute, if they have a spare 5 minutes when they're taking lunch, something that when they take their mobile out, that it's easy for them to gain access to your internal communications, to post their own content, to engage with your content. All of those things are key for mobile, and that's what TikTok does really well, is using mobile and just getting you on that app really quickly and interacting with content, consuming content. And that's what I think we should be doing with our employee experiences and our internal communications as well, is making them so perfect for mobile that employees can't resist them.